Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours. Welcome, it's the 20th of February 2017. Those of you that watch me regularly know that I channel Archangel Metatron as well as other beings from time to time. I work with colour therapy and I'm all about trying to just help steer you through these weeks, months and years of life. I've got a new camera, hooray! I'm quite pleased with it actually, although this is the second time I've tried to make this video this morning, because despite having spent a small fortune on this new camera, they don't come with memory cards. It's really quite extraordinary. So I did a video and then it cut out after 20 minutes because the memory card was full. So I'm really hoping it doesn't happen to this other memory card I've just stuck in. So anyway, that's all the boring technical things, but thank you for all of those of you that have been watching me a while and have stuck with me through lots of blurry videos and videos sometimes where the sound wasn't fantastic. I am just a one-man band, you know, I haven't got any technical, you know, expertise behind me at all, and I learn as I go along. So I hope this is going to be an improvement going forward, and it's nice to see you clearly. So we've got this big week ahead then. We've got a new moon in Pisces, so lots of watery energy. We have got a new moon and solar eclipse, that's right. There's also a few other things going on with the astrology. Just looking down at the floor because I've written it down on a piece of paper. The bits that I thought were particularly relevant anyway. We've got Mars in Aries, square Pluto, conjunct Uranus. Now, when I was looking at that, and when I say looking at that, I'm not an astrologer. I was talking about looking at an astrology video this morning. I thought, whew, okay, we've got Mars. So Mars is, you know, the red planet. It's quite warlike. It can be quite aggressive, quite assertive. It's dynamic, you know, it's fast moving. We've got Aries, which isn't exactly a shrinking violet sign of the zodiac. We've got Pluto, which is the energy of rebirth, transformation, death and rebirth. We've got Uranus, which is saying expect the unexpected. And it's like I really had to just go, okay, let's just sit with this a moment. And I've written 3 words down on this piece of paper, and they are sense of humour. Because in all seriousness, I think this is a week of all weeks to try to keep it light, because around us there is going to be an awful lot of intensity, there is going to be a lot of emotion, there's going to be a lot of heated voices, there are going to be actions that others do that maybe we don't necessarily agree with or like, and that may be politically, socially, collectively or personally, or all of that. So we really need to be, it's funny actually, I got an echo just come through, and it hasn't happened before this morning, and it's coming from over here. There's a drum on my wall and it's just reverberated as I was raising my voice, and I think it's just trying to make the point that we need to be speaking softly. Okay, softly and quietly this week, and being very measured in what we do say and to whom. Okay, so whilst around us it may be headless chicken for other people territory, we don't have to be like that. And I might have said that in a previous video, but we've still got that energy. Now, the new moon in Pisces feels obviously very watery, so I thought I would spray the Archangel Metatron Water Element Spray. I'm going to reach for this. Beautiful sort of minty green colour. This is the water energy, and let's just put that around myself and around you. Just connect into it for one moment. And I want to do it in an arc over our heads. And this is about flow. Flow and movement and change. Flow, movement and change. And let's ask for a week where that flow, that movement and that change can be melodic, can be soft, can be yielding, can be buoyant. We can float through the week, but held by the element of water. And be aware also that there is this big wave. I'm seeing a big wave that has just gone out to sea. Huge, great big wave. And it's going to be coming back in towards the end of this week, okay, with the new moon. And this new wave that's coming in may well be physical, but it's also symbolic. And it brings with it the Piscean energy, the energy of dreams, mystery, illusion. It also brings with it Neptunian energy, which is linked into clairvoyance and intuition. And it's definitely a week where we need to be thinking about our dreams, noting our dreams if we get any. I had one last night. I wrote on my Facebook page yesterday about the fact that we all are going to be required to stretch our minds. And what Metatron means by that is we need to stretch our minds to actually start to take in what has been incomprehensible to us up to this point in time. Now, that can be good, it can be bad, because some things in our midst have to be confronted. There are some things that have been in the underworld, which is Pluto's domain, that some people have known about for a long time, but which are now coming up to the air to be healed. In a daily newspaper in the UK today, it's got on certainly page 2 or 3 reports of a previous Prime Minister of ours who's now dead, linked to paedophilia and much worse. Paedophilia by nature is pretty horrific, can't even say it. But anyway, there are some terrible things being said, but it's been known about for a while. It's just, it hasn't had the opportunity to come up to be healed, isn't quite the right expression, but to be aired, you know. Secrets, lies, deceptions, they're all coming up. And so we need to maintain our own high vibration whilst around us there is some pretty unsettling stuff going on. Please keep your protection in place, keep your vibration as high as you can, and let's take Metatron's hand this week to help us with that. But yeah, take note of dreams, as I say, because this thing about stretching the mind to what is we haven't been able to comprehend before is also positive. I had a dream last night where I was seeing lights in the sky in my dream, and one of the lights in particular beckoned me towards it, and it was galactic in nature, and I was taken to another dimensional reality where I was very comfortable. I'm not exactly sure which dimensional level it was. It was silver in tone, I'm hearing. It was friendly. It was to be taken up to see a higher perspective, a different aspect of cosmic life. Because the life down here on Earth at the moment is a bit, you know, yucky. It's a bit, we're all in the mud a bit. So I was being shown some beauty. And I was very aware in my dream state, I wanted to include my family within that. I wanted my children to be with me. And the beings that were around me were like, yes, your children can come too. And I was shown this beautiful house. It's all symbolic. I'm not about to be abducted. It was symbolic, this beautiful house at a different dimensional level. And everything was laid out for the children, everything they could possibly need. But the proviso was, you can come, but you can't then go back. And again, this isn't about abduction. This is about shifting consciousness. Once you've shifted to a higher place, accepted in a different reality, a galactic reality in this case, I'm talking about disclosure really, your mind can't go back to that small confines. Once you've seen something and you've had it verified, you can't then go back to an old understanding. And it did strike me today when I was thinking about this dream over breakfast. I thought it's very interesting because we've got all this fake news at the moment in our world. We don't know who to trust, we don't know who to believe. And wouldn't it just be amazing if disclosure was brought forward? Not necessarily this week, not necessarily even this year, but maybe it's just brought forward a little bit, because I feel as though the disclosure that was planned was going to be a bit more, what Metatron is saying, cloak and dagger. And by that he means they didn't want to frighten us. They still don't want to frighten us. But it was going to be done quite softly and quite gently, so that it would just creep into our consciousness, as it already has been over many, many decades. But now I feel, because there is so much illusion out there and so much fakery, I think they need to pull out all the stops to actually show us, no, this is real, and you need to get to grips with that, and your minds need to stretch to accommodate this. So that's just come in, that information came in, whether, as I say, that is for this week, this month, this year, this decade, I have no idea. But I do believe it's true. So let's go back now to this week, the 20th of February, and I'm going to pull some cards from the Oceanic Tarot deck. I'm using them because the paintings within them are done by Jane Delaford-Taylor, who has done my paintings for the forthcoming Archangel Metatron Oracle deck that I'm doing. And obviously I like her colours that she uses. So let's pull 7, please, Archangel Metatron, and let's ask for some guidance for this week ahead, leading up to this Piscean new moon and solar eclipse, which isn't going to be visible everywhere. From memory, and this really is memory going back a couple of weeks, I think it's more southern continent, isn't it? It's not the northern hemisphere, it's the southern hemisphere. I think South Africa may be seeing a bit of it. Right, 7. But whether you see it or not, you still get the effect of it. We have Pentacles, recognition. We have loss. We have reward. They go together, don't they? We have kindness. I'm going to just shuffle the deck. I've got 4 there. I'm just going to shuffle them one more time for the last 3. Queen of Cups, sensitivity, luck, security. Quite a few money cards. And then on the bottom of the pack, we have the High Priest, okay? The High Priest. So that is that timeless wisdom, beautiful timeless wisdom, mastery, higher understanding, higher knowing, peace, who's holding us through this coming week. And it also feels as though I'm being asked to say here that, of course, in Atlantean times, because this whole watery energy has a very Atlantean feel to it, there was a lot of secrets and a lot of mysteries that some of these high priests and priestesses had that wasn't available to everybody, you know? It was kept locked a little bit because it was so sacred. And it's almost as though he's coming back now to say to us, it is to be shared with all of you. Can you see the way he's extending his hand out there? And he's also holding a crook, which reminds me of the crook that Christ holds sometimes, the shepherd. It's like a shepherd's crook. And of course the shepherd is somebody who helps lead the sheep. And maybe as a species we've all become a bit like sheep. We're all following the crowd. We're all responding to what people want us to feel or sense or know. And he's saying, no, there is another way. So he's on the bottom. Let's just go through these though. So the first card we had, and I'm going to put the Pentacle cards together actually, because having made this video twice, I had pentacle cards in the other video as well. So it's a week where we're looking at money and abundance, but I'm wanting to say abundance really. We have the card of recognition, luck and security. Fortune favours the brave, I am hearing Archangel Metatron say, okay? So it feels as though this is a week to really go for it if you can, to take a chance, not a silly chance, not take a bet on impossible odds, but to invest, maybe a week to invest financially, emotionally and physically in new dreams, new projects, new activities. It could be a very practical thing, like you might be investing in joining a new club or a gym, or you might be putting money towards investment in business in the way that I've just invested in this new camera. You know, it's about putting money into something which is going to bring dividends in the future, which is going to enhance what you do, but it feels very business orientated as well. I'm also hearing for some people it's about that word we had at the start of the year, collaboration. So collaborating with others, realising that you can't do it all on your own. Maybe there are partnerships that are going to be formed during the next few weeks. And I'm saying few weeks because, of course, eclipse energy by nature isn't a static thing. It carries on, it reverberates both before and afterwards. If you think about that wave that we were just linking into, the wave has already gone out, but that wave is linked to this new moon in Pisces, so it had already been going out over the previous week or weeks. It's going to come back in, but equally when it then comes back in, it will then go out again. It's that sort of beautiful movement. Recognition as well for hard work done, you know, recognition for all that you've done so far. If we're about to enter a new cycle, as we are, particularly going into March, where we really get into the nub of this year, Spirit is almost wanting to recognise what we've done up to this point in time, but also for you to look back as well and recognise your own achievements up to this point in time. Very important to do that, because the more that you do that, you bring more achievement towards yourself. It's like anything, what we notice universally is what we tend to get more of. So it's not ego, it's not about patting yourself on the back for the sake of it, but if you have achieved something, maybe you've passed an exam, or you know, you've completed some training, or you've got yourself back to full health, whatever it is really, you know, you've survived something, it's about recognizing that as an achievement. And yes, giving yourself some reward for that as well, you know, even if it is just some comfort, because it feels as though all this money energy here, you know, it's about, we've got the card of recognition, luck and security. All these pentacles for me are just saying there is some treasure to come in for some of us with this new moon, but you need to be opening your arms up to receive that. So that feels really, really nice actually. Let's look at the other ones that we've got here. We've got two queens in the pack. We've got the Queen of Pentacles again, and we've got the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups feels very Piscean, you know, she's very much linked into the element of water. So she is sensitive. She's saying to us that we are going to be sensitive this week. We are going to have heightened intuition. We're going to have hunches. We're going to just get that gut feel about certain situations. And if you get that type of information coming at you, please take note of it. You know, it's there, it's to be used, it's not to be ignored. Honour your sensitivity this week. Although it's a week for getting out there and doing things as well, it's also a time for looking after yourself. And if you're feeling a little bit sensitive, honouring that as well, okay, in however that needs to be. The Queen of Pentacles sort of backs that up, because even though she's again linked into the realm of abundance and money, it's about kindness. I'm also hearing as well for many people, all of the kind acts that you've done up to this point in time have been noted, okay, and it's as though what you have done again comes back to you. So that wave that I was seeing earlier on, that can also be about almost like some karmic payback in a good way for all of the good deeds that you've done, all the kindness that you've shown other people up to this point in time. It might be that somebody just unexpectedly gives you something, or it could just be a case of walking down the road and somebody very beautiful smiles at you or touches you in some way. But it's as though there's something that comes back to nurture your soul and your heart this week, okay? I want to read about the Queen of Pentacles though. I'm just going to get the book that goes with it just to see if there's anything else that I haven't mentioned for her. So she's an affectionate, generous woman, a wise helper, a lover of nature, of home, her family. She's practical and down to earth. And she's showing you it's time to focus on key tasks and to spend your money wisely. What were we just saying about investment? Investing wisely, not taking a gamble. And it's also to do with sometimes a woman being significant at work as well. So it feels as though it's very much also with these two female cards for this week, it feels as though there's a real influx of this divine feminine energy as well, okay? So look out for that within yourself, within it growing within yourself. But equally, maybe look out for role models that are out there who are displaying that divine feminine energy and learn from them as well, okay? What else do we have here? So as well as our money cards and all those beautiful female energies, we've got these two, which are direct polar opposites of each other, okay? We've got the card of loss and we've got the card of reward, okay? Duality in essence, really, isn't it? They're two polar opposites of each other. The Seven of Swords, loss. Let's just see what it says about that. I mean, it's probably pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to make sure that I've got it all covered. Okay, it's a bit of a warning card actually sometimes here. The Seven is known as the thief card of the tarot because it reveals something being taken from you. It can validate your suspicions. So if your intuition is telling you to not trust, don't follow it. Investigate the detail rather than agree to an offer straight away. Wait until you have evidence that is genuine. It's also a card just asking you to protect yourself and your possessions at this time and to sort of look at other people's motives. I suppose that links in really with this Piscean energy, which I think I would use the word, although it's very, very beautiful and soft and there are many wonderful qualities to it, it can be a bit illusionary, you know, and we're seeing that now in the world, you know, what's real, what isn't real. So I suppose that makes sense of this really, you know, what is illusion and what is actually real. And you're only going to know what's real by really going within and linking into that, the initial card we had, which is the High Priest, which is about listening to your own inner wisdom. So I'm feeling as though I'm hearing Metatron saying for this week that not all that sparkles is gold. There's some sort of expression like that, isn't there? So don't get tempted by the baubles and the trappings and the glitter. Be very discerning this week as well. I feel this is more related to business than anything else. I don't think it's so much about relationships. I think it's more to do with business and work. And it's not a card to fear. It's more about just pay attention to the small detail. Pay attention to, you know, crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's, as they say. And if you do that, you get your reward, okay? But it's not a week for taking shortcuts. And I'm saying that because I feel as though the energy feels quite fast, quite frantic this week. We talked about the headless chickens at the start, that sort of energy that's around. And so don't get caught up in that. And that's sometimes where you can make mistakes. You can sign things without properly reading them. I had an example today actually. I've had somebody on the phone and they're just chasing me because they want me to renew an insurance policy for the train. And which is all fine and good, but I thought, no, I'm not going to be rushed into just signing on the dotted line with, you know, the first amount of money that they quote me. You know, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the small print. I'm going to read about what actually I am paying for, you know, whether it's needed. Well, it is needed, but you know, it's just an example. Don't rush things just because you're busy. Make sure that you do it properly, you know, make sure you do it properly, and then you get the reward. The Four of Wands, let's just see if there's another message that goes with reward as well. When you've achieved a goal, such as finding a new home, completing a project or passing a test, it's time for reward. Holidays, socialising, love and trips away all feature in this happy four, which brings you leisure, fun and freedom. It's also time to get back in touch with your inner child and celebrate the joy of life. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday actually, and they were asking me about work-life balance. And they're holding down a job at the moment as a teacher actually, and they're finding it quite a struggle because, you know, teachers work really hard, and you know, she goes out at 7, comes back at 7, then has homework to mark, doesn't really feel like she has any sort of life. And she was asking me just for a bit of guidance, and I was saying, you know, it's all about just trying to literally balance that with some things that you're looking forward to through the year, whether that be a musical concert, whether that be a holiday, whether it just be a night out or going to see an old friend. But it's all about finding the balance at the moment, but that the reward card is very much about that. So, you know, all this hard work, all this, because it does feel as though it's a week for some hard work. What's going to be your reward at the end of it? Okay, so maybe think about that. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card, and then I'm going to pull an Archangel card, and then I think we will wrap this video up. So one more card from the Oceanic Tarot for the new moon in Pisces. Let's see what we get. Sorry, you can't rush the cards sometimes. No, that's the one. Okay, Judgment, self-reflection. So there are some decisions to be made for some people this week. The card of Judgment is what it says it is. You know, she's the angel there that's rising from the sea is sort of blowing on the conch shell. It's sort of like a wake up type energy. She's calling, it's like a clarion call. So it's a time for reflection. What I'm actually seeing is a line in the sand. That's what's being shown to me, a line in the sand. A line in the sand is being drawn with this eclipse energy. And it feels as though that wave that comes in, that watery energy that comes in, when it goes back out, it takes with it things, behaviours, I want to say people, situations that are no longer viable. So it's not that anything's going to be done to anybody that isn't in alignment with their higher truth. But it feels as though there's a line in the sand being drawn for some of us. And it's as though the sea comes in, it cleanses, it washes away, and it leaves what's meant to be left, and it takes what's meant to be taken. Okay, and in that way, nature, the elements, help us to make that choice. And I'll give you an example of that. It happened this week, and those of you that read my Facebook page know what happened anyway, but my mum had a bit of an accident in her car last week, and she was okay, fortunately, but she had been really worrying about whether to keep the car or not, you know, whether she was still capable of driving it, whether she was safe to drive it, whether she could afford to drive it. And this decision had been going on for a year or so, you know, it's really been playing on her mind. And what happened was the accident came in such a way that the car was written off. She has received the money from insurance to not replace it, but to give her a bit of buffer money. And she's actually very grateful because that decision was taken out of her hands. It's that sort of energy. It doesn't mean we're all going to have car crashes or anything bad is going to happen to us. But it's as though sometimes when we haven't been making a decision for ourselves, despite having had all the warning signs or all the synchronicities to give us the answer, if we still haven't acted and moved, it's as though spirit can sometimes come in and make that decision for us. They will never harm us, but they will make the decision for us. And that's what I'm being shown by the line in the sand. Let's have one more that goes with that. Seeing that very clearly. I'm also hearing there is a line in the sand that has been crossed by some people. So that's a different message. Behaviour that has been repellent or abhorrent, actions that have been wrong. It feels like quite a karmic time, as though for those that is speaking to, it's sort of time for payback, which is the way of the universe. And then we've got the card of generosity. So again, we've got this money energy here. 6 of Pentacles now, generosity. And we've got the High Priestess now on the bottom of the pack as well. So what do we want to say about generosity? Just want to tune into this for you. The energy of 6 to me is always linked into the energy of love. Love for our fellow man, I want to say here as well. The more generous that we can be this week with our consideration, our time, our wisdom, our love, the more that will really be noted. I want to link into this energy of generosity, which is just flowing into the room here. Let's link into that. And I want to link into it with this colour, which is the rose. Okay. Let's put the rose energy around us and think about generosity. And think about what a beautiful energy generosity is. And how by being generous from an open-hearted space, we help another, but we also help ourselves, because what we give, we get back. It's very much a week of what we give, we get back. And Metatron is saying give freely and give without any expectation and give bountifully. As do we, he says. As do the angelic realm, give bountifully back to us. So there's also something coming through here maybe about serving spirit in some way. And the more that you do that, the more that you get coming back to you as well. Let's pull an Archangel card. She said, hold on, they're over there. So, working with the Archangels a lot this year, running a course in Dublin. Thank you very much for all of you that have signed up already. Looking forward to meeting you all and seeing you, spending a couple of days together in June. It'll be wonderful. So let's see which Archangel wants to particularly help us this week leading up to new moon in Pisces and the solar eclipse. Come out, wherever you are. They feel playful. I don't know why I've just said that. Right. Those of you that have done courses with me will know why I've just said that silly thing. Archangel Sandalphon. I tell you what, every time you channel Archangel Sandalphon in a workshop environment, what tends to happen is people start to laugh and giggle, because Metatron has a sense of humour, but it's quite a dry sense of humour. Sandalphon is different. It's very childlike, very silly. It's literally like come out wherever you are. It's that silly thing. It's like, it reminds me of hide and seek. One of my children were playing hide and seek the other day in the house, and it's that sort of energy. So Sandalphon is with us this week, and actually maybe he needs to be with us this week. So we've got all this watery energy, and then we've also got the fire energy of the solar eclipse. And Sandalphon represents the earth, so he's bringing a bit of balance back here as well. And he's saying, we angels bring you gifts from your creator. Open your arms to receive. So I like that. That thing about come out wherever you are, that's actually about if you don't show us who you are and where you are, and show up this week, we can't actually bestow these blessings and gifts on you. We can't actually help you this week, okay? So I rather love that. So that's Sandalphon coming through with a little bit of humour, with that beautiful golden cup there, wanting to help us and wanting to bring some humour. What did I say at the start? I wrote down sense of humour for all these heavy planets. Don't get sucked into all of that. I've said it so many times on my Facebook page, but I get a bit fed up with a lot of these energy flash reports that people put out on social media, because they always seem to be negative in tone. Yes, there's some heavy aspects around this week, but keep your sense of humour, keep it light, maintain your trust and faith in spirit and the angels, and they will get you through it. And remember also just to float through this week as well. Be the starfish, who is supported by the element of water, and spirit knows where we are all going personally and collective, and at the end of the day, all is well. Much love, everybody. I'll be back soon with March's video. Okay, much love for now. Bye-bye. Work out how to turn it off. Okay.